Welcome to another edition of the Boxing Commentaries with this dude here to commentate about boxing. Just throw my 2 punches in. Here to commentate about SCULL Canelo Alvarez. Fights tomorrow, Saturday. And I'm going to talk about the fight. So it is what it is, man. If I break this fight down scientifically, you know what I mean? What are we going to see? What are we going to look at? What are the key factors in this fight? As we all know, Canelo Alvarez is a smaller fighter, 5'7", fighting the bigger dudes, risking his resume with these giants at these heavier weight classes. But scientifically speaking, Saul Canelo Alvarez versus William SCULL, breaking it down the best way I can, I would say that William SCULL being the more physically taller, bigger, faster fighter, naturally speaking, compared to Canelo, who's 5'7", risking his resume against these giants. And when it comes to these bigger giants, man, they could, when they're facing a little guy, like 5'7", who's trying to adjust, who's trying to, be that guy at a heavier weight class, it's a whole different thing. Now, Canelo has experience. He is the king at 160, 168, 175, questionable. He's 1 for 1. But when he's facing these bigger dudes, man, these bigger dudes are naturally bigger. They could absorb more punishment. It's naturally speaking, he's not going to have that enough, comparison power to these big guys. So Canelo's moving up. He literally is. He's trying to stay at 106, 68. We've seen him fluctuating. A lot of people say that's his natural weight, which is not. He started at 140, And we all saw him, throughout his journey. Now he's at 168. And he's just trying to fight the bigger guys. He's just trying to fight. He's the little guy trying to fight the bigger guys. So, you could hate him for that, or you could, applaud him for that. I commend him. This guy's risking it. He's fighting heavier weight guys, and he's dropping them. Like he dropped Munguia, he dropped Berlanga, but yeah, these guys are heavier, bigger, stronger. And Canelo being the smaller fighter, he's just gonna have to try to lay that punishment, trying to break him down little by little. At 168, you saw he was knocking out his opponents. He knocked out Plant, William SCULL, and then the other guys, Smith, and so on, right? Rocky Fielding. So when it comes to these particular fighters, did Smith get knocked out? I think Smith went the distance, if I'm not mistaken. But he has a good record at 168 pounds, knocking out his opponents. But compared to these heavier guys, like Bivol and Berlanga, Munguia, well, yeah, man, these guys are pretty big dudes, so it's kind of hard for him to actually knock them out and shit, So, but when it comes to William SCULL, faster, taller, Cuban SCULL, elusive. A lot of people, before this fight it's kind of funny, bro. Before this fight was announced, there was a lot of channels talking shit about how Canelo is ducking William SCULL. He's ducking another elusive, slick fighter with the Cuban SCULL. They said he was dodging them, ducking them. And now that the fight's made, a lot of these same channels are saying, who is William SCULL? Which is pathetic, And even mainstream media, or even these high-class social media channels, with credible, commentators like Juan Manuel Marquez, for example, who before the fight was made with Canelo and SCULL, he was saying, William SCULL, he even interviewed William SCULL. He's like, man, you should fight Canelo. He's ducking you. He's avoiding you. You will definitely, give him problems. You could possibly win. He was giving him all the credit in the world, talking about how William SCULL is the guy to beat Canelo. And as soon as Canelo makes that fight, a few weeks later, same guy, Juan Manuel Marquez, who interviewed William SCULL, who pretty much was saying all these things, that Canelo's ducking William SCULL, and SCULL could beat Canelo. And as soon as that fight was done, a few weeks later, Juan Manuel Marquez is like, who is William SCULL? I never heard of this guy. Why is Canelo fighting? I swear, man, I feel like slapping these guys across the face because you're just retarded, bro. I'm a scientist, guys. I look at things logically, and I break things down the scientific method. I look at facts. I look at data, analysis, and when I hear you guys' comments, man, I feel like I'm losing my brain cells. I feel like I'm dumbing myself down. I feel like I need to switch off, turn it off, move on, Holmes, because I'm too smart for that dumbass shit. With all due respect, I'm smarter than that, bro, to even, entertain those, those comments, so I just move on, bro. So, it's funny to me how a lot of people at one point were saying Canelo's ducking SCULL, slick, elusive, Cuban fighter, and then now they're saying who's William SCULL. And they're saying this fight doesn't make any sense, which makes perfect sense to me. It's for Undisputed. If we all remember correctly, David Benavidez was given the mandatory position to fight Canelo Alvarez. He was supposed to sign on the dotted line to enforce his mandatory status on March 2024. And what happened? He asked for 2 extensions to make up his mind, only to say he's vacating his title. He's moving up to 175 before that March 24 deadline came through. So, it's obvious. David Benavidez ducked. A lot of his fans were disappointed in David Benavidez. And they just, like we say in Spanish, barking dogs don't bite. You know what I mean? All talk, no bite. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. So during that, procedure, when Canelo was trying to make that fight, right, he was waiting. It's all out there, guys. When Canelo was waiting for David Benavidez to sign on that dotted line for the mandatory position, he said no. They had to bring in Berlanga as a late replacement. And during that transaction, during that ordeal, during that particular time frame, the IBF was also interrupting those negotiations, those possible matches, to throw in William SCULL versus Canelo as the mandatory fighter. The only difference between David Benavidez and William SCULL is that William SCULL activated his mandatory. He enforced that IBF to strip Canelo if he didn't fight him, unlike Benavidez. Benavidez said he wanted extensions after extensions, only to move on and vacate, right? So it is what it is, you know what I mean? So how's this fight going to turn out? Bigger, slicker, fighter, and William SCULL with the Cuban style. He's going to be elusive. He's going to be throwing a lot of jabs, a lot of 1-2s, trying to avoid all the power punches that Canelo's going to be throwing at him. In my opinion, William SCULL's going to try to imitate Bivol. Dimitri Bivol, he definitely has the blueprint to beat Canelo if you're able to use your height advantage, your reach advantage, your speed against Canelo for 12 rounds. And it's easier said than done. Bivol is a naturally bigger fighter at 175. William SCULL is at 168. And will the making weight affect William SCULL? Making weight, it always affects. It's easier for Canelo to make weight because he's shorter and he doesn't have to kill himself to drain his weight. But William SCULL, he might have to drain himself to make that weight. We don't know. So what's going to happen? What is the outcome of this particular fight? Is it by knockout? Is it by points? Well, statistics show that Canelo is a good fighter, but when he's facing these kind of fighters, it usually goes to decision, right? And there's a lot of factors why it goes to decision. For one, like I said, he's fighting bigger opponents who are able to sustain more punches as well. Canelo is aging. These guys are younger than Canelo. Not only that, but Canelo, at the same time, he's recovering from a knee surgery, from a hand surgery. So will he have that full 100% power and stability and recovery and all that come fight night? I really don't think so. He might be at 80%, not 100% in my book. I don't know. He might be at 90%. I'm not Canelo. I'm not on his team. I'm not in his corner. I don't know the inside scoop. These kind of things are usually held from the public view before the fight for whatever reasons. But I think Canelo's coming in at around 85, 90% health-wise and healthy and stuff like that. But yeah, with that being said, it's what can we do? What can we do? Well, anyways, this is what I do, man. And just I love boxing, bro. I like talking about boxing during my breaks and stuff. I should be more active when it comes to dropping more videos. But as you guys can see, man, I'm a busy man. I'm a very busy man. I have a career. Right now I'm in lunchtime. It's barely 12 o'clock here in California. And yeah, man, so, I hope I don't offend anybody. But that's the truth of the matter. If you guys are out here, spewing this hate, jealous, envious, making no sense, just running with rumors and absolutely no foundational facts to whatever claim you're throwing out there. If you're missing important factors in your claim, your argument that between Canelo versus this guy or that guy, it's just you're wasting my time. I have no time for you. My channel's small, it's a hobby. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. This is my opinion. Canelo's going to win. He's going to beat William SCULL. I think it's going to go by decision. But because Canelo it's a little bit, I would say, hungry when it comes to the knockout, there is a possibility that Canelo could win by knockout. I would say somewhere in the 11th or 10th round. I think he starts breaking him down to the point where he might retire William SCULL. So if I were to just lay down my decision, my prediction, Easier said than done, right? But I think the easiest prediction is Canelo goes to a decision. I don't want to just throw out my the easiest prediction out there, the most common one. So what I'm going to say is Canelo wins by knockout in the 10th round. Canelo knocks out William SCULL in the 10th round with vicious body blow, then followed by some uppercuts, and then there down he goes. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Stay tuned for the upcoming videos headed your way. I am going to drop some videos on Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero, Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez, Teofimo Lopez versus Barbosa. And so stay tuned for those videos, man. Those fights are happening today, right? So peace. Get you in the next round. Bye. I'm out.